going to talk about a toy that is in our family. I brought it along with me. Some of these kids probably like to play around with this. My grandkids like this. All of our kids played with Mr. Potato Head. You know Mr. Potato Head? It may date some of us. Some of you maybe never played with Mr. Potato Head, didn't have that opportunity to do that. But Mr. Potato Head, I brought Mr. Potato Head along because Mr. Potato Head is a good example for the church and the church body and thinking about it. Now, one of the fun things about Mr. Potato Head, right, is he's just a bunch of parts that you get to put together. That's what makes him so fun because, right, you know, you can put his hand where his head is supposed to go, and you can stick his nose where his ear is supposed to go, and his eyes where his mouth is supposed to go. You know, and kids have fun putting together Mr. Potato Head, but there's all of these pieces and all of these parts. And I think one of the things that's fun about Mr. Potato Head is it's a tool that helps to teach kids about the body parts, right? So Mr. Potato has an arm, so you put the arm where the arm's supposed to go. He has ears, you put the ears where the ears are supposed to go, right? And you help kids learn about body parts, and that becomes just a fun and helpful way to teach children. And as I mentioned, this becomes a great picture for what the church is. It's interesting when you read the Apostle Paul as he paints images of the church. In Romans chapter 12, the text that we're going to look at briefly this morning, Romans chapter 12, verse 4, Paul writes these words. He says, just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ, we who are many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. So essentially what Paul is saying is the church is like Mr. Potato Head, right? In that there are lots of pieces, lots of parts, and each piece, each part, when it's put together, forms one complete body. And all the parts are necessary to form the one complete body, right? They're necessary. I don't know if you are aware, and you may not be, so I'm going to inform you of how many parts there are to Hope Community Church. So if we think of parts in terms of maybe teams and roles in which we as a body come together as parts to form one body, there are 64 different teams or sub-teams. There's 24 big overarching teams, and then underneath those 24 teams, there are 40 additional sub-teams within them. And I'm just going to go through all of the teams that make up who we are as a church. And I'm going to start with our youngest and work to older, and then talk a little bit more about who we are as a body. So you can start out with Kingdom Kids Ministry, right? So in Kingdom Kids Ministry, age up to birth through 5th grade, you have nursery, toddlers, preschool, all the ages right up to 5th grade. And in each one of these areas, there are class teachers, adult helpers, there's teen helpers, there's hall monitors that serve. In each one of these teams represent multiple people, because every Sunday, multiple services, 2 services every Sunday, and then 4 Sundays a week. There are 4 Sundays in the month. So there's a lot of people to make up each one of those teams, and this is just Sunday morning Kingdom Kids. Then Kingdom Kids, of course, has Awana, which gathers on Wednesday, and in Awana there's a Cubbies ministry, 3 to 5-year-olds, and there's adults that help out in multiple ways there. There's Sparks, TNT, people who check in kids, there's game leaders, music leaders, teachers, verse listeners. So again, multiple teams of people playing multiple roles just to have Awana on Wednesdays. Then if we think a little bit older, you go into Explosion Youth, and within our 6th through 12th grade, there's classroom teachers, classroom assistants, there's Tuesday teachers, there's small group leaders, there's game leaders, there's worship leaders, there's tech assistants, there's Sunday morning teachers. It takes a lot of teams and adult leaders to help give leadership to our student ministry. Sam, who's our director of youth and young adult, also gives leadership to Bash. Bash is our college age young adult ministry. There's teachers and hosts who are involved in giving leadership there. And I'm just going to kind of talk now about areas of ministry that welcome people, help people get connected, assimilated into the life of the church. There's newcomer gathering. I mentioned that earlier. There's a team of people who make that happen. There's coffee ministry, if you appreciate receiving a cup of coffee from somebody who serves as a barista and makes it for you and says hello. There's a whole team of people who do that. And there's multiple roles in that team. There's the welcome team. As you come through the doors on Sunday morning, you're greeted in the lobby, you're greeted outside, you're greeted by somebody who's helping you check in your kids if you have kids. There's somebody at the Welcome Center who gives you a gift box if it's your first time here and helps you to navigate. There's people involved on our worship team. So you come into the service and it's worship. There's musicians, vocalists, there's people who are presenting the PowerPoint slides. There's sound operators, there's video operators, light operators. And there's this whole set of team of people who do this with the youth as well on Tuesday nights. There's our ministry that's awake the last Sunday of the month where we gather in worship. All those same teams take place there. And then if you are thinking about our education component and our relationally connecting component of who we are as a church, there's Hope U on Sunday mornings. There's classes that are offered on specific topics, and we just finished the Financial Peace University, which ran all summer long. There's group leaders. There's 12 different groups that from young adult to older to in between, for places for people to connect. There's hosts and leaders who give leadership to that. There's the foster adopt ministry. There's a group of people who gather on Sunday mornings in prayer. There's women who pray on Thursday mornings. You're going to hear more about that next week. There's just tons of women, moms, who get together and pray. They're praying for the community. They're praying for their children. They're praying for us as a church, as does the team that prays on Sunday mornings. Then there is this team that's called Hope Life. Hope Life helps to make all the behind the scenes. They do all the behind the scenes to anything that's social related to us as a church that helps us to connect. So they give leadership to your food that you have right here. The church picnic, they're behind the scenes in doing that. What we do out at the park when we gather together with multiple churches and serve our community, have a worship service, they're behind the scenes in making those kinds of things happen. Keep on going. There's this external focus team who help us as a church connect in the community in multiple ways. There's a care team who provide hospitality during funerals, which is a very difficult time. There's a team of people who care for people who are grieving. There's a team of people who provide benevolence or financial assistance when people are struggling financially. Team that make hospital visits, or this is a team that we like to form. There's the Hope Helps team. This team serves seniors or single moms and provides very hands-on assistance when people have something going on in their house. There's the Hope Protects team that every Sunday and even during the week, they're thinking about ways to make our space and us and our gathering safe. There's a facility team who's making sure that the weeds are pulled and that there's not a leak in the roof and that the facility is picked up and cleaned. And there's chair setup team and a maintenance team and event setups. And then there's a stewardship team who oversees all of our facilities and our finances, and a financial team. And then we have a staff team who we pay them, right, to give leadership to all of those of you who are serving and volunteering in all of these roles. And then ultimately, the elder team. Wow, that's a lot of different teams to make up Hope Community Church. A lot of different pieces and parts, and that when all of these pieces and parts play their part, we form this one body. We form a complete Mr. Potato Head. We're the Mr. Potato Head Church. Yeah, that's who we are, the Mr. Potato Head Church. Paul goes on, and he says this. He says, we have different gifts. So, right? So that's what he means when he's talking about a part. The part has a gift. We have different gifts according to the grace given us. And that's an important phrase, right? It's given to us. The gift is given to us. In other words, we don't get to pick. You don't get to pick whether you're going to be the teeth or the hand and the arm or the mustache or the ear or whatever. It's given to you. God gives that to you, right? He appoints you to serve in that way. If a man's gift is prophesying, Paul says, let him use it in proportion to his faith. If it is serving, let him serve. If it is teaching, let him teach. If it is encouraging, let him encourage. If it is contributing to the needs of others, let him give generously. If it is leadership, let him govern diligently. If it is showing mercy, let him do it cheerfully. Each one of us have a gift. Each one of us is part of the body. Each one of us has a role to play. And in Hope Community Church, 64 different teams, lots of different roles for us to serve and to play in. Rather than me trying to explain all this, I thought it would be interesting for you to hear from a few people who actually serve. There's a lot of you. I could ask lots and lots of you. As 70% of us serve in the life of Hope Community Church. But I'm going to ask Dave Ober if he would join me on stage right now. I'm going to ask Dave to share with us a little bit about his role in serving. So, Dave, why don't you just maybe just briefly introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your family, what you do, maybe how long you've been connected here at Hope, and then tell us where you serve, and after you do that, I'm going to start asking you a few more questions about that.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Ober, Jr. My wife, Megan Ober. We just had our third child about 2.5 weeks ago, so Megan's home right now with the baby. But yeah, just full of gratitude, just really thankful. Healthy baby, healthy mommy, and so yeah, 3 kids, 3 and under. Our oldest is 3, and then we have a daughter, son, and now a daughter. So we've been coming to Hershey, my wife and I met at Hershey Free, but we've been coming to Hope Community for over 3 years now.
And you are serving in some way here. Tell us about how you're serving. What area it is that you're serving, and I guess after you explain that, tell us why you're serving there.
Yeah. So before I get into where I serve, I just want to shout out my wife Megan, because in the season in life that we're in right now with 3 little ones, it's a challenge to figure out how can we serve, where can we serve, because what's most important is taking care of our family and my family, and that's got to come first. So just working with the staff here of figuring out how I can serve, because it's on my heart to serve. So first off, we serve this past year we served with the coffee ministry, and that's definitely a gift and a passion of Megan, my wife, with hospitality, and that's been really neat to I know everyone's name, and I know everyone's coffee order, so if you come back, no, just kidding. But that's been really neat to meet new people and just see new faces and strike up conversation with different people. So coffee ministry, and then I help out with the youth group on Tuesday nights, which has been a huge blessing. A shout out to Dave Kaiser, because he's the one that kind of nudged me and pushed me, challenged me to serve in that area. And I just prayed about it, listened to the call of what God was saying for me, and jumped in. So that was really neat. So youth group, Tuesday nights. And then I help teach senior high Sunday mornings once a month, which Sam has been a huge support in that and encouraging me and pushing me as well to teach on Sunday mornings once a month. And then last year I taught once at youth group, and I'll be teaching again this year. So excited to be continuing to teach in that way.
So you're serving in a lot of places. So that's what you said before you started in on that is really important. And it's important for us all to be reminded of that, right? That our primary responsibilities as men and women is who have families is to our family. So thanks for making that point and reminding us of that. But you serve in a lot of places. Tell us or explain what you're learning as you're serving in these places. How are you growing? How is that shaping who you are as a person?
So a lot to say here, but to answer kind of why I serve, we're never more like Christ than when we serve. And when you can have that mindset or have that heart to serve, it really changes your perspective. It really is a shift in your perspective. And that's been the biggest journey or process for me is in the different ways that I serve. It helps to continue to get my perspective right, if that makes sense. Because it's easy. You know, life is like being on a downward escalator. If you just stand on a downward escalator, what happens? You will go down. Life naturally will pull you down, and you have to fight on a downward escalator. You have to continually keep moving forward, moving up, and fighting that negative pull, that happens in life. So that's been one of the biggest things. There's just a shift in perspective. But what I've learned is that I have a lot more to learn. And just having that hunger to grow and hunger to gain more knowledge, hunger to pursue God, know God, understand God more, understand myself, and being a better father, a husband, and a leader. And I think the more you know, and in life and in leadership, the more you know how much you don't know. So it's that just continuing to learn, continuing to having the right perspective, and yeah.
So this is kind of like off script here. Why do you keep doing this? Like, why do you keep serving? Is there something about it, like what's taking place inside of you that makes you say, yeah, I'll come back and I'll do it again? Yeah,
because there are times when it's hard. There's stuff going on. You face challenges in life, and whether it's work or not, and you show up, and why do I keep coming back? I think, again, it's that mindset of I've been extremely blessed in my life, and I want to, even though it's uncomfortable, I want to continue to pour out what has been poured into me by God and my family and by others. And I know that I need to continue to push and to fight up that downward escalator, to get my eyes off myself, to think of others, to serve, to be externally focused. And there's so many people here that have been an impact in my life, and just the relationships that have been built in getting to know not only the students, which is incredible, but getting to know their parents, getting to know the other leaders. I can name a few. Jeremy Walker, I got to serve with him last year. This year I get to serve with Jim Garvin. And, just even getting to know your sons and their personalities, and Kirk and Kenton, it's just really encouraging. The people that you surround yourself with is so, so important.
So there's several things that you said there. And so like where you started is like, I need something to keep me growing. So when you think about our Vision Church, right, it's to be internally strong. We talk about being internally strong, knowing Jesus and His Word, and being connected to each other in meaningful relationships, and pursuing Christ-likeness, becoming like Jesus, and then being connected in meaningful relationships. And so, like, when you're talking about things are pulling me down, I want to be strong on the inside, so I got to do something that goes against what's pulling me back, because the inside just kind of keeps breaking down. Serving, you're saying, serving is a way that helps you to keep growing, keep moving forward, keep pursuing Christ-likeness, becoming more and more like Jesus. The other thing you said about it is that it helps you to connect with other people. So internally strong, being connected in meaningful relationships, and you name people, and you not only that, but you named like you've gotten to know them. And I assume if we probably started digging deeper into that, it's probably things that you do probably together with them. And if you need help, they're probably people that come alongside of you. And so there's a lot of things there. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you being willing to just come stand in front of everybody and talk about the part that you are in the few different ways that you serve and how it is that God's using you and challenging you.
Yeah, thank you. And if I could just say one more thing is, I want to challenge you, like Dave Kaiser and others have challenged me to serve, and just take a look at what you can do, and there's plenty of people here to help guide and direct. And one thing that I've pursued over the last year is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And by pursuing that in several different ways in my life, one of them is teaching. It's uncomfortable even for me to be up here right now, but I continue to find ways to put myself in situations where I can be uncomfortable, because I know I'm going to grow through that, and I know God is going to bless me and hopefully bless others through that. So I have to get out of my own way, and I just want to challenge each one of you with that same mindset of how can you serve, how can you show up, because each one of you has an incredible gift to be able to serve, and you've been given that. So I just encourage you to pursue that and find that and give back.
Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate it. I'm going to invite Dawn Harper to come on up and good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
You want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your family, what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Dawn Harper, married to John Harper, who leads Hope Protects, the one sneaking in the hallway sometimes, very tall. I have two little ones, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. And what else?
What do you do?
We've been here for about 4 years.
Okay. And what do you do?
I lead.
No. What do you do like in life?
Oh, well, how long do you have? I am a bookkeeper on the side. I homeschool my 2 kiddos, and we're involved in a lot of volunteer things outside of Hope.
Yeah, very cool. All right, thanks, Dawn. And your husband doesn't really sneak around. He just keeps his eyes open along with the Hope Protects team to make sure we're staying safe. All right, good. Tell us about where you serve in the life of the church.
So a year ago, I took over directing Care Ministries, and a lot of us, I know from conversations, haven't heard of what that is or even know that it's available to us. Do
you want to talk about it? Just tell us about Care Ministries.
So Care Ministries, Kirk talks a lot about how we are meant to be involved in meaningful relationships. That's small groups, just getting to know each other here at church or outside of church. So we essentially want the care to happen within your small group, but Care Ministry takes it beyond your small group. And if you're not connected yet, or if your small group's not able to handle your unique need, the Care Ministries are there for funerals, visiting people in the hospital, and the benevolence team, which is a team of people who meet when there's an application that comes in for financial needs. We review the application and prayerfully decide what the need might be, whether it's counseling for finances or maybe we can help them out with a bill.
Very good. It sounds like, that's pretty important stuff in the life of the church, and you're right. I don't think many of us know about it. It's not something we just are always talking about, but keep that in the back of your mind if you find yourself in a place in life where you need care and assistance and you don't know what to do, or maybe you encounter somebody within the life of the church who has needs. Let us know. If you encounter people who are not a part of our church, our external focus team addresses caring for people who are not a part of our church, and financially assisting and working through that process, and doing what we can to assist and help there. So, Dawn, tell us about why did you say yes to getting involved in care ministry?
Yeah, so I love to serve, kind of like David Ober said. This season of life with littles and homeschooling, as well as working on the side, leads our life to be a little bit busy. And it felt like I couldn't necessarily dedicate the time it took to be in children's ministry or youth, anywhere I wanted to be. So when the need came up, I felt like God just laid it on my heart because I have been given administrative skills that I didn't think could be used for ministry. He's gifted me administratively, and one of the times that I come alive most is when I'm filling a need for someone else. And so this was a perfect way for me to do that without being hands-on myself.
So can you talk with us about that? I mean, that's pretty perceptive and insightful for you to be able to go, you know what, I recognize that God made me to organize and to administrate and to figure things out. Somehow you figured that out in life. But then, very, very perceptive to be able to go, and I feel super alive when I'm doing that in caring for people. How did that happen?
Well, so our small group, for instance, I don't even know, probably 2 years ago, there was a single mom who needed to be moved, and I think everyone noticed like how much I just become so excited to go over and help and do whatever I can to fill that need. And so I wanted to be doing that more, but 2 kids and my husband works extra hours and we do volunteer stuff, so there wasn't time. And actually the About Hope class is where I realized the administrative skill was a spiritual gift.
So you took what you filled out, like the inventory, took that, and was like, oh, hey,
yeah,
okay.
I thought it was just something I learned through school and being taught how to organize things. But after we did that evaluation, then I realized that could be a part where I plug in, and then the need came up for a care team.
How about that care part? Like, is that just like something that you've just like always as a person?
So, background, he's pulling that out of me, is when I was very young, I was homeless. And so it just was something that now I just want to give back what we didn't have. And it just makes me smile to see other people be able to get those needs filled. So.
And there's a lot there. Right. There's a lot there. Dawn, thanks for being willing to share. Thanks for being willing to serve. And thanks for your encouragement to all of us about the ways that we can maybe be involved in serving. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
We do need a hospital visit team. So if that's something you're interested in when the need arises, if someone lands in the hospital and maybe can't have their spouse or family visiting a lot, you can sign up to do that. If you want to, I'll be in the hallway in between services, or you can find me in the directory.
Great. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much. So remember the text that we were looking at. I'm not very good with microphones. This is not my gift. Hopefully it stays in there and doesn't snap out and let me break the thing. If you remember the text, right, Paul says we have different gifts according to the grace given. Sorry, James. That was bad. Why did that happen? Whatever. That's for a conversation afterwards. We'll figure that out. You guys will teach me something that I'm not doing right. There you go. We all have to learn, right? Thanks, Dave. You reminded us of that. We got to keep growing and keep learning. Yeah, I got to learn how to do that. Paul says we have different gifts according to the grace given us, right? So God has given us. You heard from 2 people who are, different pieces, different parts of our body. You've heard how they have utilized their gift in serving. You've heard and been challenged and invited to consider serving. As I mentioned, there's 64 different teams. There's a lot of needs. There's a lot of needs. Now, fortunately, as a church, 71% of us, I mentioned earlier, do serve. So most of the needs are met and well maintained, but there are a few needs. Actually, there's several needs, and I'd like to make you aware of these needs. And as Dawn mentioned, there will be different leaders in the lobby who would be glad to answer questions about this area of need, and perhaps you would be willing to say yes and to fill in that. And so here's a list of some needs. Our welcome team. If you can just say hi to people or serve in one of the ways in the welcome team, we need a few more people to assist there. The newcomer gathering team needs a person or two to help out there. Our Hope Life team, which is dealing a lot with food and administration and just kind of helping serve behind the scenes, could use a few people on that team. We're looking to start some new groups. If you're willing to host a group, maybe in your home, or to serve as a group leader, we could use some help there. Our care team, you just heard Dawn mention, visitation is an area that we need some assistance. There are a number of external focus opportunities, and Dan, who gives leadership, will be glad, and we'll be in the lobby and we'll help you work through some of these opportunities to serve in our community. If you're a teacher, Pastor Joe's looking for another teacher or two to help out with Hope University. If you're a mom and you appreciate moms in prayer, or if you are even a man who's available on Thursday mornings, the Moms in Prayer team is looking for a few more adults to provide childcare. I think, if I get the number right, there's like 2 nurseries and toddler rooms that are open. I think it's like every time they gather, it takes 6 adults because there's so many kids as all these moms are gathering together to pray. Kingdom Kids and Awana, there's a few needs there. Explosion Youth, a few needs there. And you can talk to leaders out in the lobby. So those are some needs. Again, Mr. Potato Head Church, right? Let's just conclude with what Paul has to say in verse 10. I'm going to just jump down to verse 10. Paul then, after talking about each one of us having different parts and forming this body, he says this in verse 10. He says, be devoted to one another. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. And then he says to honor one another above yourself. Honor one another above yourself. To honor one another above yourself. That principle of honor can be lived out by demonstrating and showing appreciation and just saying thank you, right? And we live in a culture and in a world where that doesn't happen a lot. As Dave mentioned, there's a lot of things pulling against us. But it is important that we honor each other and we appreciate each other and that we say thank you to each other. So as a church family, just to be as somebody who's a part of Hope Community Church, and as you've heard, there's 64 different teams. That means there's lots of people around you who are serving, and you may or may not even think about that. I was having a conversation just yesterday with somebody about setting up this room. All right, it took a little bit of time. It didn't take very much time. There was 4 people, set this room up in 40 minutes, tables, chairs, all this kind of thing. But the comment was this, setting up chairs is kind of like, that's like a thankless kind of a job, right? It's nobody sees it and nobody really even appreciates it because that's what's always expected. You just come in and that's the way that it is. But the reality is, this is multi-use space, right? Set up, tear down every single week. It's used Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday by groups of people. And then it's got to get set back up. And so it's set up, tear down for all of these. And it's true. It's behind the scenes. It seems meaningless. You do it. Nobody says thank you for doing it. There's no way to feel really good about it because it just gets taken down. You put it up, then it gets taken down. But the reality is, it's important to have a place to sit, right? You're sitting in a chair. And so I'm preaching on this. I don't even remember how I got here. Sorry. But it's important. It's an important need, and if you can help with that, that would be that would be great. But it's not one of those things where we show appreciation or can show honor to. And that's Paul's point here, right? Honor one another. And so there might be somebody next to you who serves in some way that you can show honor and you can show appreciation to. All right. On the table in front of you or near you or by you, there are cards. Riley mentioned that he had picked up a card. And those cards are for you to write a note to somebody and to say thank you. It's a way to honor them by saying thank you. Maybe you're a parent and your kid is in Awana and you've never even thought about that there's somebody who plans games and they do it every week and they show up and, you know, your kid, all you know is that you drop your kid off at Awana, but there's somebody who's here. And they've invested the time to plan a game, and your kids get involved in those games and they appreciate it. Or maybe you drive in on a Sunday and you just appreciate that the grass is cut. Maybe you never even see that, but maybe some of you do. Or maybe you appreciate the way that the flowers look and the bushes are. And there's somebody that does that. And maybe you could just write a note to the stewardship team. And, maybe you appreciate a clean bathroom and write a note to the facility team. Or maybe you appreciate sound and that it works and that when people like me drop microphones, they figure out what got broken and they fix it and make sure that we have a new one. And it's 64 teams. That card's there for you to write a note. We're not going to do that right now, but take that along. And instead, I'm going to direct your attention to the side screens and to just view this video of us talking about what we appreciate about Hope Community Church.
I love everything.
We are thankful for Hope. The Out Church preaches the word of God.
And I appreciate the hearts of those in leadership that just genuinely seek the Lord.
Appreciate the godly leadership of our elders.
I appreciate our community. I appreciate the biblical teaching here from our pastors.
I love the leadership, how they're very concerned about people, about teaching the Word of God.
Hope is our Sunday school class, especially our teacher, Dr. Hyper, and as we get through the Bible.
I appreciate Hope Community Church because of the women's ministry programs. I like to meet them and host some ladies coming over on Wednesday nights, and it's really nice to meet them, to bring with them.
I would say probably the worship team, the community, because everybody comes together to praise God.
The worship is empty. So you're coming in, you're getting ready for church to come in, you're like, but you get in here and they're focused because they've been praying and getting into that place and getting you into that place.
I like the friendliness and warmth and the way the welcoming team makes everybody feel when you come in. They're just so friendly and kind. You just feel like you're home.
I appreciate that it feels like home. Been away for a couple of months with Joe's sabbatical, and coming back just feels like coming home.
What I love about Hope is the community. It's like being a part of an extended family.
We really enjoy the family atmosphere and how they care for us, and just love being part of this big family.
It's the whole church.
I super appreciate the financial team here at Hope because I don't know about you, but I do not like handling my own finances, but they just take such good care of our church.
I appreciate the open arms Hope has always given to us.
I love the value that children have placed on them here in this church. So they're in the main service, they're worshiping with us, and they're even allowed to lead worship as high schoolers. And I just love that.
I work in nursery ministry, and I really appreciate that work that she does. She's awesome at what she does.
We really appreciate all that Hope has to offer for our children.
Because she's nice.
Because she has fun things like games and we look up the Bible and stuff. And I appreciate Jesus died on the cross for our sins.
I'm excited to see the group that has such a heart to pray.
I appreciate moms in prayer.
The Moms in Prayer group, they really got me connected and met so many incredible moms. Big shout out to Mary Beth Will, who has been a huge influence in my life, and I just really admire her and her godliness.
This Moms in Prayer, it has
really transformed my life personally, my relationship with my friends, like really getting to sit together and pour prayer over our children and pray for each other's kids has completely radically changed the way I pray for my children, the way I pray for my friends, our relationship together, and just how we pray for the church in general.
I appreciate the just community. Like, I mean, granted, Hope community, but like, I just do really appreciate some of the older people like Jameer Smith or Joel Wade. Like, they've been huge influences in my life.
I appreciate the youth at Hope and how privileged and how Sam is helping out our ministry immensely.
I really appreciate Sam and Taylor and all that they have to add to our youth ministry. I appreciate that our youth ministry is thriving. I appreciate all the time that our leaders take into growing relationships with the kids.
I appreciate Bill Hunting because he is a small group leader. He's the best, and also that he goes and takes all the pictures for Explosion Youth.
One thing I'm really thankful for is the opportunity that Hope gives the youth. When you walk in the church, you see them at the coffee bar, you see them in the worship team. They're in with the nursery and toddlers helping out every week, and in many other kids areas throughout the week. Hope gives them the opportunity to use their gifts for God.
But I just love that we're not just talking about reaching out to people, but we actually do it.
One thing that I really appreciate about Hope is the coffee ministry. It is a good time just to meet people, get to know their names.
I do appreciate our safety team. They are keeping all of us safe.
I love that we're externally focused.
Anita Smith and the foster care. Well, everybody's been so welcoming to our girls and our kids.
Anything that anybody wants to be a part of, there's something for everyone to be plugged into.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, I approve this message.
Thank you, Caleb. All right, so hopefully you feel appreciated this morning, and so I'm going to read off this list of teams one more time, and I'm going to ask if you serve in any one of these teams, if you would just stand, and we'll do one big clap at the end in showing appreciation. If you're part of the Kingdom Kids team, you serve in the nursery, toddlers, preschool, K through first, second grade, fourth grade, sixth grade. If you're a helper, a teacher, team leader, hall monitor, would you please stand? There should be lots of you standing because there's so many people that serve there. If you serve in Awana, Cubbies, Sparkies, TNT, Check-In, Games, Music Leader, Spark, TNT, Verse Listener, would you please stand? If you're involved in Explosion Youth and you help out with maybe teaching or as assistant in the classroom or Tuesday teacher or small group leader, a game leader, or worship leader, would you please stand? If you're involved with BASH, helping out there, serving leadership and teaching, would you please stand? Involved with a newcomer gathering, would you please stand? Coffee ministry, please stand. Welcome team, maybe a door, lobby greeter, child check-in, welcome center host, please stand. If you're involved in the worship ministry, musician, vocalist, pro presenter, sound operator, video operator, light operator, would you please stand? Involved with the Explosion Youth team in that area, please stand. If you serve on with Hope U in any way, or if you're a group leader, a small group leader, you're a teacher, would you please stand? If you're involved with our foster adopt ministry, caring community, if you serve in teaching in that group, would you please stand? How about moms in prayer? Those of you who give leadership and participate in that. Those of you who give leadership to the prayer team, the Hope Life team, external focus team, would you please stand? Care team, anyway involved with hospitality or benevolence. If your Hope Helps, Hope Protects, please stand. Facility team, maybe you help set up chairs, maybe you clean, maybe you help do maintenance, would you please stand? If you're involved on the stewardship team in any way, please stand. The financial team. If you're a member of our staff, would you please stand? One of our elders, would you please stand? Let's thank all these people who are standing. Invite the rest of you to please stand. Let's close our service in song.
the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness.
thank you, Hope Community Church, for being a part of us and for making us the body that we are. Just remind you, if you are fairly new today, newcomer gathering, stop by and say hi. Have a great week. See you next week.